Okay, welcome back to the second part of this chapter, and we'll be looking at cash flow and project costs. So after going through this part of the chapter, you should understand the key elements of the project cash flow and key concepts, how to manage the cash flow of a project, and also discuss some of the critical success factors that drive project costs. Cash flow. Cash flow is the lifeblood of the project. You need to ensure that you have sufficient cash flow. So cash flow is not the same as the project budget. So understanding how much you need, and that is why it's so important to generate your phased budget. A phased budget just means that you know per week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know per week how much money you're going to need to pay contractors, to pay salaries, to pay for material, and so forth. What that phased budget does give you, it gives you an opportunity to manage your cash flow. In most cases, what a client would do is a client would negotiate a contract with you in which they pay you a small piece of, say, a 20, sometimes a 20, 30, 50 budget. At other times you have a 20, 40 budget, simply meaning that the client said that, listen, I'll pay 20% of the project fee up front, and then halfway through I'll pay 30, and then at the end of the project I'll pay 50. In that way you carry the cost of managing the project, and that is not a very good way of running a project. What you want to do is you want to negotiate a project where, negotiate a contract where you have fixed milestones along the way in which there are payments that need to be delivered. So you then have a specific milestone, the first, so there's normally a small payment up front, and that covers initial startup cost. And you want to have fixed, and generally it is sort of in 20% increments. So 20% of the project has been completed, you must get paid 20%. However, you might, due to your phased budget projection, there might be a middle part of the project in which you might need a lot more money than the initial first part or the first half of the project. And you need to understand that, and you need to negotiate with your client or with your customer, with your client in such a way that you can manage that cash flow. Because if you don't have the money available to pay, to buy materials, to pay salaries, to pay your contractors, they become demotivated and they might not deliver the work that you're asking them to do. As I said, you must negotiate a good payment plan with your client. You make, sometimes they make equal monthly payments, but most cases it is milestone payments, generally 10% of the project or 50% at every milestone that the project is complete. And you must ensure that part of your contract there are frequent payments that is made during the lifespan of the project. Avoid the one payment at the end of it, because in that way you carry all the cost and all the risk. You must carefully control the outflow of payments. If you have a tight budgeting system in place, if you have a very good phased budget in place, you should know as a project manager exactly how much money you need to spend next month, whether you have that cash available, and also how much money is coming in. This is one of the most important parts of managing your project, and software can help with it. You can store all the costs associated with each resource into the software. You can calculate the budget for each work package, and this is the beauty of some of the software that you can use. It is very much a budgeting tool and a tracking tool of expenses as well. Determine costs for the entire project, define different rate structures for each resource, and also analyze cost performance. Again, some of the, depending on which software package you use, most of them you should be able to pull a budgeted report very quickly. You should be able to pull a cost analysis very quickly. You should be able to review where and what you're spending the money on. especially if it's very large projects that stretch over multiple periods, over months, over years. And that brings us to the end of our chapter on costing and budgeting. The next chapter deals with risk, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.